Just ahead on ABC 6 News, first at 4, police are digging deeper while the Foxborough Police Department wants to hold 3 Rhode Island men accountable after a Pats fan died last month. Plus, a tragic ending for a woman killed by a truck. Police identify that victim tonight. And the death toll spikes. The latest details on Israel's war as Benjamin Netanyahu vows to destroy Hamas. And we are in the courtroom. The man accused of calling in bomb threats at a Providence temple faces a judge. Those stories in a Check Your Forecast starting right now on ABC 6 News, first at 4.
This is Southern New England's trusted news source, ABC 6 News, first at 4.
Our top story at 4 o'clock. Foxborough police now looking to press charges in the death of a Patriots fan last month at Gillette Stadium. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon at 4. I'm Tiffany Murphy. 3 Rhode Island men have been identified by police involved in an altercation where 53-year-old Patriots season ticket holder died shortly after that fight. Providence Hour reporter Daniel Coates joins us now live from Gillette with details. Dan?
Well, Tiffany, it's been nearly 3 weeks since the death of Dale Mooney after the altercation during the Patriots game in Gillette Stadium in his Patriots season tickets in the 300 section. Now, if you can remember, we reported on the preliminary results of his autopsy, again, about 3 weeks ago, that found that he did pass away from a medical emergency and not trauma. But now Foxborough police say they're still looking to charge 3 Rhode Island men in connection with this death in the altercation that broke out in the 300 section on September 17th. The department has applied for criminal complaints alleging assault and battery and disorderly conduct. And police tell us this is the result of numerous witness interviews and angles of video capturing that fight. 911 calls we obtained from that night also outline the terrifying moments when crews responded.
300 level, guy not breathing. We got an EMT coming 300 level. They're performing CPR right now.
They're trying to get a patron stop. Ben Coast Jersey just went up onto the concourse, 116, 117. He took the Dolphins cable.
CPR progress 09.
And a probable cause hearing is scheduled for the coming weeks. If the court does find probable cause to move forward with the charges, the names of those 3 Rhode Islanders will be released. For now in Foxborough, I'm Daniel Coates, ABC 6 News.
Thanks so much, Daniel. Continuing our coverage at this hour of the war between Israel and Hamas. A new unity government formed in Israel following last weekend's intelligence failure, which allowed hundreds of Hamas terrorists to infiltrate the country and kill over 1,000 Israelis. Meantime, Israeli forces continue their retaliatory strikes in Gaza. Officials say they want to kill Hamas leaders and their fighters after that brutal attack in Israel over the weekend that continues. In Gaza, residents searching for safe spaces as the blockade by Israel's military has left Palestine without food, water, or electricity. Secretary of State Antony Blinken meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel today, pledging the United States support and continued aid to Israel.
We'll continue pressing countries to help prevent the conflict from spreading and to use our leverage with Hamas to immediately and unconditionally release the hostages.
The Pentagon says U.S. intelligence had no warning of the attack. Now, here in the Ocean State, the Jewish Alliance of Greater Rhode Island starting an emergency fund for the war-torn Israel. The organization announcing the fund to help with urgently needed financial assistance for those impacted by the war. All donations will go toward victims of terror and trauma in the ongoing conflict. To donate, you can go to our website and find that link, abc6.com. Of course, stay with ABC6 for the latest updates out of Israel. We'll have continuing coverage both on air and online, abc6.com. Other local stories we are following this afternoon at 4 o'clock. A man facing a judge this morning after being accused of calling in bomb threats to a local temple last night. Police arresting 63-year-old Vincent Johnson. Investigators say he called in bomb threats at Temple Bethel in Providence. Johnson arraigned on charges of bomb threats, false reporting, and disorderly conduct. He's also accused of not showing up to court several times for unrelated cases. Johnson was held on $10,000 bond. Police in Newport releasing the identity today of that woman who was hit and killed by a truck while she was riding her bike. Police say they were called to the intersection of Admiral Kalfas Road and Hillside Ave just before 8 o'clock yesterday morning. That's where they found 34-year-old Kayla Watson from Middletown. She'd been riding her electric bike and it collided with a bucket truck. Then she was run over. The driver of that truck, 53-year-old James Drape, is facing motor vehicle violations. The AG's office currently investigating to see if additional charges are needed. Attorney General Noronha says a man's been indicted for a deadly shooting at a Mother's Day cookout in Providence. Luis Sepulveda is charged with first-degree murder and illegal gun charges. Sepulveda is accused of killing 44-year-old Angel Rodriguez back on May 14th on Manton Ave. Prosecutors say Sepulveda's friend and Rodriguez were fighting throughout the cookout. Then Sepulveda fired several shots in the air, hitting Rodriguez. He later died at the hospital. Witnesses told police a group of people were waiting for Sepulveda in a van parked outside of that house. They add that Sepulveda has a lengthy criminal history. Developing news at 4 o'clock. Johnston police tonight still searching for that suspect they say is responsible for shooting an employee at a used car dealership. It happened last night. Right now, still limited information coming into our newsroom, but police say it happened on City Limit Auto on Hartford Ave. According to investigators, the shooter was able to get away before cops got to the scene. That shooting victim was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Right now, that suspect has not been identified, but police say there is no threat to the public. A live look over beautiful Providence on this sunny and stunning Thursday afternoon. Let's get a check of our forecast with Providence Now Chief Meteorologist Jeff Banson. I thought we were back in summer today.
Yeah, it felt like it for a little while maybe. You can see plenty of clouds that popped up this afternoon on our sky cam. That view is looking towards the north. It is a little bit of a bluer sky looking south. This is very, very reminiscent to what we were talking about yesterday at this time. And again, it's because the atmospheric players haven't really changed that are nearby us. We do have high pressure to the south, low pressure to the north. Not too close to each other, so fortunately just a light southwest wind. But you can see how close the cloud line, some thicker clouds to our north, and even a couple of sprinkles just went through southern New Hampshire and just to the north of Boston, right along the 495 corridor right there. Again, not seeing any wet weather here. In fact, again, more sun than clouds. Just a matter of a couple of miles, though. We're very close to this upper level low, which has finally begun to become a little bit more progressive and is pushing off to the east. It's centered right over Quebec right now. Some heavy rain right at the center of that low. But this, if you will bear with me for a moment, you go back to last weekend. We had that front that came through on Saturday. It paved the way for beautiful weather Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, now into Thursday. But that upper level low got cut off from the jet stream. So this is really the same parent storm system from what brought the rain on Saturday. And wouldn't you know it, it's going to have an effect on this weekend's weather, but for the better this time around. There's the weekend storm right now over the Rockies. The stationary front from it extends all the way east into the Ohio Valley, almost into the mid-Atlantic. It's a very long stationary front. By the time it gets closer, we are going to watch, again, the influence from the storm from last week actually helping to suppress this storm a little bit further south, so much so that some parts of our area may not see any rain this weekend, Tiffany. So that trend from yesterday has continued, even a little bit more for the better. We'll have more coming up in the 7-day forecast in a bit.
Thanks so much, Jeff. A focus on our schools at 4 o'clock. Providence Mayor Brett Smiley signing an agreement with the city's 4 major higher education institutions. The city reaching an agreement on the new payment in lieu of taxes, also known as the pilot program. It includes Brown University, Providence College, RISD, and Johnson & Wales.
The combined voluntary payments and community contributions of $442 million over the next 20 years will make a meaningful impact in both financial stability, community impact, and the long-term success of our beautiful Providence.
When asked when the first payments would be made, the mayor says soon. Other local stories we're following for you on this Thursday afternoon. As part of the Roger Williams Park Zoo's Red Wolf Species Survival Plan, their family of red wolves will be moved to the Akron Zoo next week. One wolf named Saluda will stay here in Providence, and she'll be joined by a new mate. The red wolf is a critically endangered species, and Roger Williams Park Zoo says they are committed to protecting 30% of the remaining species by 2030. This is the last week that you'll be able to see them on display. Today, a big day for the Sea Streak Ferry Company. For the first time in 15 years, they'll be transporting travelers to and from New Bedford, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket all year long. Providence Now reporter Caitlin Galehouse picks up the story from there.
Well, I have some exciting news here in New Bedford. The Sea Streak high-speed ferry service is now going to start running ferries from New Bedford to Vineyard Haven on Martha's Vineyard year-round. The new schedule started this morning at 6 o'clock and will offer 2 round trips daily. It's built primarily for commuters going to work on Martha's Vineyard. They usually only run this service from mid-April through Columbus Day, but now it will run 7 days a week throughout the entire year with 1 morning and 1 afternoon departure from each location. A one-way ticket is $45 and a round-trip ticket is $80. There are discounted tickets available to commuter passengers, and free parking is available just through October. They also encourage regular leisure travelers looking to access the vineyard to use the ferry service, as the ferry will be running 2 round trips on weekends. For more information on this, you can visit abc6.com for all the details like holiday travel and ticketing.
Still to come on ABC 6 News. First at 4, 25 years later, the country remembering Matthew Shepard's death. What President Biden is calling for all these years later. Plus, day 9 of no speaker, the latest on Capitol Hill while Congress remains in limbo, and destruction in Florida after tornadoes ripped through parts of central Florida. You're watching ABC 6, Southern New England's trusted news source.